Hi everyone, welcome to Rick's 1/35 scale models. My name is Rick. Today I'm going to be taking a Marder 1A3, which is this kit, which is a Revell kit. This is a MBK Reebox, and I'm going to take the kit and I'm going to paint it and then add some camo netting and weathering. Now the effect I'm looking for is a vehicle that is kind of at its lifespan for the paint and needs to get a repaint job, so it's going to have some fading to it. I'm also going to add the camo netting. There's some different little details I'm going to add on, similar to this picture, but it'll have more of the netting on it. Now, this is a great kit for a base, but there's a lot of things you can do to it to kind of add to it and modify it. So the kit itself is a great foundation for a lot of modifications. If you just build it right out of the box, it comes with a plastic barrel and it's okay looking. There's some fake grills for some of the mesh and stuff, and then some of the things that are normally opened are closed up. But you can pretty quickly do some modifications, like cutting the holes out here for the steps, drilling the centers out of the barrels, getting an aftermarket metal barrel and putting a mesh over the siding system. Little things like that make a big difference pretty quickly, and then adding metal antennas on the back, all that dresses the kit up quite nicely. It takes paint well, it's a simple build, it's a fun build. Anybody who's watched me before knows I've built several of these. I've got 9 of them in my collection. I've got 7 more to build, and it's getting real hard to find the kit, and I'm starting to get a little anxious because I want to buy some more. I really like building it and working on it. But let's kind of dive into this project and start it. Now we'll pick up after I've completed the kit, and not really going to show the building part, but we can dive into the actual painting project. So let's get started. Okay, initially I've taken the model and built it as I had said. I'm going to take my primer I'm using, which is the Mr. Hobby Black, and the leveler in a 50-50 mix, and then I'm going to liberally cover the entire vehicle with the primer. I'm really impressed with this product. It does a really nice job and covers nicely without too much buildup. Next, I'm going to be highlighting the areas I want lighter in the painting with white, and I'm going through here and doing that areas, which you'll see shortly. This really creates the faded look that really brings out the paint scheme. Now I'm going to be starting the actual painting of the overall vehicle. The biggest important part here is to do small coats and don't over paint it, or you'll lose the under covering. By doing it lightly, you can always add more paint, but you can see here how the white bleeds through a little bit and creates that faded look, which is the whole goal of this paint scheme. To make it look a little better, I'm going to use some NATO green and buff mixed lightly together to kind of create more of a highlighted two-tone look in the paint for the faded effect. This is going to be a real light painting and highlighting areas in different effects. The idea here is to accentuate the faded areas and create that effect, which you can see here. I'm going to start painting the camo pattern. I'll start with the brown. What I'm going to do is just outline the areas that are going to be painted. From there, I'm going to follow it up with a lighter white in these areas to create the faded look in the brown. I'm using the border airbrush here to get a real fine line Here, as I said, I'm going to paint the white, and I'm just doing some of the areas, nothing major. This is just to create the kind of faded look in the actual paint. It was a little too thick, so I wanted to thin it down just a little more, but it definitely comes through nicely, and once I paint it, you'll see the effect. Now once again, the idea here is to not paint a massive amount of paint on, just kind of lightly highlight it, and then as it builds, the paint builds up, you'll kind of see the effect and find the right match for what you're looking for. So I still wanted to create a little bit more of a faded look, so I took a combination and like I did with the green, and then followed up by just lightly highlighting certain areas. The idea here once again is to create that faded look. When it's initially painted, it looks kind of odd, but after it dried, it came across exactly as I was hoping. Now the black's a little different. For this one, what I wanted to do is just paint it. I wanted to make sure I kind of created some of the lines you'll see as it fades. Usually those are more predominant on the edges where they initially painted the design on and filled it in the middle. Once this is completed, I'm going to come back and once again do another color to kind of highlight the fade effect. But the black is a little different. You can't just use whites in that or it'll turn gray. What I did there is I used some combination of silvers and metallic colors, then followed up very lightly highlighting areas. This creates that look that black gets when it fades compared to the other colors. Next, I started the meticulous process of doing all the detail painting. You can see on the road wheels I added silver on the bolts and then some of the locking plates. You'll see that real common on a lot of German vehicles as they do maintenance. Sometimes things aren't painted. That's the effect there. Here I'm also painting the Follow Me placard they always have. Going through and painting the cover, it's always a different color if you look at them. And then the tow cables. After that, I'm starting the slow process of weathering it with the oils. Here I'm using the Tamiya panel liner, multiple different colors. I like that product, but you can mix it and do however you want. This is just easier with the applicator it comes with. I'm not looking for a majorly grubbied up vehicle here, I just want to kind of highlight it. So this worked really well. One of the things you'll notice on a lot of the modern vehicles, especially the Bundeswehr, is a lot of the flat plates they have. They'll get a lot of fading in those areas. Here I'm kind of simulating that and then creating the weathered buildup look you'd see naturally in areas that aren't necessarily touched as much. Next, I wanted to create the areas where the paint's been rubbed off by high use areas such as hatches, panels that are open to closed a lot, and different areas that the soldiers will climb in and out of. I'm using a sponge applicator here to lightly dab it. Really happy with this effect. I've seen it done a lot and I've done it a few times but never really demonstrated it. The whole idea here is just have a very light amount of paint and then just dab it. The sponge naturally creates a look and almost like a chip look. From there, going on to do the tracks. Now I'm priming them initially and then I'll start the painting and weathering. After everything's completely done, I'm going to continue on with the weathering look. What I'm using here is oil paint that is not thinned at all and dabbing it in different locations. From there, I'm going to take clean thinner and drag it down where you can see here in just a slow blending process. This also gives you a good look at the fading effect I created on the paint. Once again, the idea here is to dab it all over the place, let it set for a little bit, and then reactivate it with the lacquer thinner. One of the important parts of this to make sure of is, depending on what paint you use, make sure you've sealed the model with an acrylic sealer. That way when you start the lacquer thinner process, you won't ruin the paint job you've done underneath. I've done this a lot of times, and the biggest thing with it is it's a trial and error process. You just slowly work it around. What I like about the oils is they you can reactivate them if you're not happy with the results, and then once you're happy with it, seal it up with a nice acrylic thinner or sealer. One of the things I've always noticed on all the modern German vehicles, especially the infantry vehicles, is they have these cords tied to the vehicle in different patterns to tie camo netting and things like that on. So what I've done here is I'm copying it. Now, there's several ways this goes on. I'm using this way because the camo netting is going to cover a lot of it. But I'm just using regular sewing twine to create the effect, and then using a little bit of glue to follow it up to connect it down. Now the glue I'm using is CA glue here, but you can also use white glue. It works well too. Next, I'm starting the installation of the camo netting. Now, I've already used this product before in different videos, and the netting I'm using here is a product I'd already prepared in the past. But what I've used is the Type 1 AK netting, and what I've done is I've painted it NATO green on one side, and on the other side I've painted it olive drab. Then from there I've just gone and cut it and torn it up a little bit to lay it on the vehicle, which you can see here. I'm using white glue and a 50-50 mixture to attach it. Now the biggest thing with this product is very happy with it, but you have to kind of play with it and pull it around. It doesn't really get soft or anything, but as you move it and tie it to the vehicle, kind of like, you can pull it snug and it'll make the netting really jump out and look a lot sharper. Another really common thing you'll see the Bundeswehr do is they add live foliage to it. Now this is a winter-fall type model where it started to snow, so what I'm adding is this fall foliage, and this is AK's product also. Just kind of adding it in here and there to create the look that you'll see real common. Now, around the fighting compartment of most of the Marders that Bundeswehr uses, you'll always see them having sandbags stacked around the area for protection. What I'm using here is epoxy putty to create my sandbags with. Just kind of mixing it and then kind of getting it to fit where I want. One of the things that's nice about this product is that as it dries, it kind of adheres. So I've actually formed it, made it, stuck it on the vehicle the way I want it, and then just let it cure, and then I'll follow it up by painting it. Also here you can see the white strips, that's also AK netting, but I did not paint it, so that's what you're seeing there. So looking at the completed kit, I've added the commander here. You can see I've added some equipment on the outside, weathered it, painted it, kind of what you see. I did add a little bit extra of the white camo netting, more of the snow effect, and then painted and darkened the sandbags on the back. Added the ammo containers here, and then added the water bottle on the back. This is something that they put a UV nightstick in there for lighting so that they can see each other at night with their goggles. Kind of a neat thing. You'll see on a lot of the pictures of the vehicles, you'll see this somewhere on the vehicle, either on a windshield wiper, you'll see it on the antennas, you'll see it on the turn signals, you'll see it on the rearview mirrors, different places. I've also painted over the brake lights on the back. These parts, a lot of them I see are sometimes taped over, sometimes exposed. And then added the camo netting, which you already watched me do. The idea here is it's a wintertime deployment. It's not gotten all grubbied up or anything. It's kind of a cold out, but really hasn't really got too much into the field yet, but they're ready to deploy out. I have the cover over the anti-tank rocket here, which they have. As I said before, the metal barrel, the meshing here, the drilled the hole out for the MG machine gun, folded the mirrors down, just added a lot of different effects. Also, one of the things I did on this, which I talked about briefly, but I'm really pleased with, is adding this rope that they have. Now, there's two ways that I've seen this, which I did discuss. Sometimes it goes from here to the top of the side skirting, and then there's a second part up on the storage box for the equipment, and then other times it's all the way up and down. Because I had the netting, I really wasn't too concerned. I just was looking more for the lower effect here, which you can see. But I did, like I said, have the equipment on. The fading effect came out quite nice. I'm really pleased with that. The overall effects of the vehicle, definitely I'm going to do something like this again, a little different process, but a similar style for another one of my next builds. Anyway, that's my process. Questions, comments, always welcome. Please like, subscribe, please share, please hit the bell so you get notified for future releases. You can get me on Facebook, you can email me. I try and get back to everybody as fast as possible. Everyone take care. More videos coming soon, more reviews, more projects, more builds, different things. Lots more to come. Everyone, once again, take care. Happy modeling. Catch you on the next one. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.
Shut up and sit down.